Hi, my name is Joseph Parker, WBO champion of the world, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
So I just watched a IFL TV interview with Tyson Fury. Very interesting interview, and I'll put it in the description box for you guys. Go have a watch of it yourself. So within this point, of course, he's talking about potential next opponent, and he was going through some kind of scenarios, and big baby Jarrell Miller. And he says that he's very open to be working with Jarrell Miller. Bob Arum has also said this, so has Frank Warren. Eddie Hearn is very anti this one because he's only just been caught. And I know that there's been certain channels, and I know that there's boxing fans and people within boxing jumping on Eddie Hearn saying, how can you say people shouldn't be working with big baby Jarrell Miller when you are quite willing to work with Luis Ortiz, Canelo, Povetkin, and so, when all these guys have a history of PED use. And I understand Eddie Hearn's point of view, which is Miller has only just been busted. When he was working with Luis Ortiz, when he was working with Povetkin, and of course Canelo, all these guys did their time. They got punished and they served their time. Miller is only a few weeks ago, he got caught. And that's Eddie Hearn's point, is that there's no kind of anything other than he's just got caught. So why is it suddenly he's going to get caught and gets put straight into a big fight? Bearing in mind, you have to understand Eddie Hearn is going to be quite biased on this one because this happened on his show. That was his fighter that failed. So he's going to be very, very bitter about it. Of course he is. But regardless, I mean, if you just look at the fight between Miller and Tyson Fury, when you look at the landscape of who it is that Tyson Fury could fight, because bearing in mind, he's already conquered Los Angeles when he defeated Wilder. Yes, he didn't get the decision. But most people know he beat Wilder, so therefore he's already conquered Los Angeles. He conquered Las Vegas when he defeated undefeated fighter Tom Schwartz. Like that fight or not, that is the fact of it. And now he wants to conquer New York. He has been to New York before when he fought Steve Cunningham, but that was a bit low profile. But this one is a high profile fight with big baby Jarrell Miller. Of course, Miller, he's going to be bringing a lot of eyes and ears because of what's happened, the fact that he was supposed to have taken on Joshua, and the fact that he's from New York. So it's a big fight. But when you look around at the heavyweight division for American fighters, which is what he wants next, who's really the options? You can look at Bryant Jennings. Bryant Jennings just lost to Oscar Rivas, and now he's about to take on Joe Joyce. So he's off the table. You could look at Adam Kownacki. Adam Kownacki, very good fighter. That'd be a very good fight. But he is Polish. He's Polish-American. But most people recognize him as Polish. He is from New York. But again, he does have a fight coming up with Chris Arreola. And besides the fact, I don't think the PBC would release him to Tyson Fury, to be perfectly honest with you. Look at Charles Martin. Again, Charles Martin, he lost recently to Adam Kownacki. He lost to Joshua previously as well in 2 rounds. So again, not really somebody people really want to see. You could look at Trevor Bryan. He's promoted by Don King. So a Don King promotion and Bob Arum, ESPN promotion, along with Tyson Fury's self-promotion as well. That would be huge, huge promotions, wouldn't it? With all these guys working together. But Don King, Bob Arum, historically never really got on. So is that fight really viable? Again, Trevor Bryan from the outside, not really a known fighter. Very, very inactive. But still, it's a fight, but again, I don't think it's really possible because of Bob Arum and Don King's relationship. Who else is there? You've got Deontay Wilder. He's going to be taking on Luis Ortiz in September the 28th, I think it is. So there's not really anybody else out there, is there? For American, Dominic Brazil, he just got blasted out in 1 round by Wilder. So when you look at it, and the fight's going to be in New York, Miller is really the only kind of viable option. But I do understand when people say, but he hasn't served any kind of ban. He needs to be punished for what he's done. He needs to be made an example of. Because at the minute, if what happened to him and he goes straight into a Tyson Fury fight so soon, it's like he's got away with it. I mean, what kind of message does that send around? Personally, listen, I like Miller, but the fact is, we have to be realistic with the amount of PEDs in his system. He cheated. I don't buy the whole elbow thing. I don't buy any of it. I believe he genuinely cheated. But if Tyson Fury is willing to fight him, listen, it is what it is. If Tyson Fury is willing to risk it, it is what it is. But I would imagine that they probably would employ VADA again, and Miller's going to have to prove that he's a clean fighter going into that fight. He's going to have to. But will he enroll into VADA? He said he will. I don't know whether or not he officially has yet, but he's going to have to prove to the board that he's clean to get his license back, which is why he's currently not suspended, because he never had a license, so you can't suspend somebody who didn't have a license. But it's a fresh PED pop, isn't it? Which is why a lot of people are going to have an issue with it. If this fight happened in a year's time after Miller served 6 months or a year, whatever it may be, then I think people maybe, we're interested in that one. But I think just because it's fresh, it only happened a few weeks ago, suddenly now we're talking about Miller. People shouldn't be talking about Miller having a fight. Anyway, it is what it is. For me personally, I think if Tyson Fury and Big Baby Jarrell Miller do fight, listen, it's an interesting fight, isn't it? Wouldn't you watch it? Of course you would. I would too. So, you know, how much complaining can we really do? Again, a lot of the Tyson Fury fans, as in the extreme ones, the ones who are just absolutely bat crazy. Okay, listen, I love Tyson as well, but I'm not bat crazy. But most of these guys were complaining and moaning about Joshua was going to fight Miller before the PED scandal happened. Why is he going to fight Miller? This is the cherry pick. This is the easy fight. This big 400-pound lump of lard. This is what all the extreme Tyson Fury fans were saying. Are you going to hold that same energy if Tyson Fury signs to fight him? Probably not, right? Probably not. But anyway, it is what it is. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up. Subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.